something, and then I'm going to contradict myself in the very next sentence. So prepare yourself. Draft grades are real dumb. Draft grades are stupid because they pick these guys Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Nobody's played a game. Nobody's been good. Nobody's been bad. Nobody's been a massive disappointment. Nobody's been an unbelievable revelation. We don't know. Right. Did anybody know that Puka Nacua was going to be Puka Nacua last year on the Monday after the draft? No.
Yep.
Okay.
Or Kobe Turner.
Both good and bad. There are incredibly pleasant surprises and there are incredibly devastating busts.
Before you go any further.
Yes.
With all that said.
Yes.
What grade do you give him?
Okay, so
by the way, that's the kind of the funny thing because in the NFL, and this is not uncommon to the NFL, but NFL probably more. You got all these rounds, everything else. Everything is grades.
Grades. Yep. Everything's grades, and they're all over the map. The only thing that seemed to be kind of consensus and universal was that the Falcons blanked up their entire thing. Yeah. Like that. Caleb Williams, universal number one, and then the Falcons torpedoed their entire organization. They're screwed by taking Michael Penix.
It's everyone else's B's, and like a B- or B+.
Exactly. So with that in mind, the Rams went almost exclusively defense early. They took 4 of their first 5 picks were defensive players for obvious reasons. They have a lot of holes defensively, which we'll get to in a second. The one offensive player that they did go to relatively early in the 3rd round was Blake Corum out of Michigan, the running back there. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. Look, he may be the second coming of, Eric Dickerson, or he may be out of the league in 2 years. I have no idea. But as we sit here now.
That is literally the running back position in a nutshell.
Who knows, right? Kyren Williams is really good. Kyren Williams has been terrific, ... when he's available to play. When he's available, the Rams' offense looked totally different. He missed almost his entire first season with an injury. He missed 6 games last year, which is a third of the season. He got hurt towards the end where he had that hand injury where he went down. He's great. You need 2 of these guys. Corum's bigger. He's got about 20 pounds on Williams. One of the 2 criticisms of Sean McVay? One is, what are you doing with your timeouts? Fair. Yep. And number 2 is, can we run the ball inside the 10-yard line once or twice? Sure. Corum gives him an opportunity to do that. I really liked that, comes from a winning program, knows what You go to Michigan, it's you win the national championship or it's not a good year. The Rams we make the playoffs, we push to the Super Bowl, or it's not a good year. That's not going to be new for him. I really liked that pick.
I have no idea how it will pan out, but I was surprised they took a running back.
I think everybody kind of was.
Yeah.
But the more the dust settles, I didn't think they would be taking a running back. I mean, I think we all were talking about different positions of need, predominantly on the defensive side. You're not going to replace Aaron Donald. Everybody knows that. So you're trying to get as many potentially defensive players to help in that regard. Or maybe you're going to go, like we were talking about leading up to Thursday, double down on offense and go out there and see what you can do.
Apparently they tried to get Bowers, and they just couldn't get it done.
Okay, you couldn't do it, and they readjusted. But I think getting it back in this situation – in the regards of, is Kyren Williams, what's his health? Can you depend on this guy for 17 games? The answer is I don't think no.
Not yet, you haven't.
I don't think you can. So from that perspective, it makes a little bit more sense. And listen, I think any team that has success in the NFL, you got to have a threat. You got to have and I know
probably more than one.
And
right?
I know the running back position is different than it might have been 10, 15 years ago, but you also have to be a threat with your running game. All right, you got 2 of them.
I also think specifically Sean McVay's best offenses include a great running back.
No question.
You can see in those 4 games that Kyren Williams missed last year is when they didn't have the same offensive performances. So I think that it does, give the get the insurance for when Kyren Williams may or may not be out. But also, one thing about Blake Corum, throughout the season last season, he was an emotional core of that Michigan Wolverines. Like, I remember that interview with him on the sidelines. I don't know if after they beat either Ohio State or Penn State. I can't remember what it was. But his eyes bleeding. He had pushed through a bunch of stuff. And you know that is going to be a tough guy that is going to get yards toughly in the NFL, and that's what they need.
They also addressed the Aaron Donald thing as best you can. Like, you're never drafting another Aaron Donald. You might not even draft another All-Pro at that position for who knows how long. but they took let's do it in numbers. We're going to take a defensive tackle. We're going to take an edge. We're going to take another edge. That they just kept doubling down on the thing that you're going to miss the most with Aaron Donald, which is putting pressure on the quarterback, which is completely blowing up other teams' options offensively. You're not going to do it with one guy, but if I do it with a bunch, I already got Turner. I've already got Young. Let's throw Verse in there. Let's throw Fisk in there. Let's just start throwing a bunch of things at this. You go and you get Tre'Davious White. You go and you re-sign Darius Williams. You go and you make a trade. What's the safety from Buffalo? Culver or something like that.
Tre'Davious White.
No, the other one. Maybe it was Carolina. But they basically rebuilt their entire defense because the defense up until this point was some combination of Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and some guys. And now both of them are gone. Ramsey's been gone for 2 years. Aaron Donald's long gone. You can't replace him with one guy. You got to replace him with 4 or 5, and I think that's what they tried to do.
I like the concept, too, of – and I get it. You know, if somebody had the idea or the theory of just try to outscore teams and try to put up 30 points a game, I understand that. I understand the theory there. But tell me a team that's had success, real sustained success, without having –
it's got to be at least mediocre.
I was just going to say,
yeah.
Maybe you don't have the best defense. It's not the Baltimore Ravens back in the Ray Lewis days or Urlacher with the Bears. Okay, that's fine. But you still got to have a respectable defense. And that's all they're – and this isn't guarantee them that, but certainly you're paying more attention to the defensive side.
They could have 8 new starters on defense this year. 8.
Yeah.
And that is – I mean, that's crazy.
And that's typically, that in most cases would be
a red flag.
Rebuild, a rebuild. Not even a red flag, a rebuild.
Yeah. And this is with a new defensive coordinator. And I think that it's very different if this was Raheem Morris still at the helm of the defense for the Rams, but that this is under Chris Shula, which we have not seen him be a DC, but also we haven't seen him be a DC.
Right.
With all of these maybe potential starters, maybe not, but all these young players. Who's the most decorated player that's going to be on the defense? What, Ernest Jones?
Tre'Davious White, who's been hurt a lot too.
And he's new to this team.
Yeah.
Too. So it's like, who is going to be the person on the leader?
Think about how it's changed so much, because before you had 2 people in that room that everybody had the utmost respect for. Aaron Donald and Raheem Morris. Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. Raheem Morris is – I don't know if I've ever been around a team and heard everybody unanimously talk about how important – an assistant coach was, that he was that guy. Everybody loved him and respected him. And if he said, hey, this is what we want to do, guys are snapping to. And you got Aaron Donald in the room. Aaron Donald's the hardest worker. He's the best player. Everything's going to fall in line. First-year DC, a brand-new room of defensive players. There are a lot of question marks. The best thing in Chris Shula's, Sean McVay likes him. If Sean McVay likes him, cool. Let's roll with that, because I trust Sean McVay. But beyond that, there is a lot of hoping. There is a lot of, let's see how it works out. When Raheem Morris comes in, he's a made guy in the league. He's going to show up and do it. With Shula, it's new.
It's the best case. Literally, it's the best case. Is if Sean McVay thinks he should be the defensive coordinator, then he should be the defense coordinator. If we're sitting here a year from now and saying, what the hell was McVay thinking? That's a completely different conversation. We just haven't had many of those.
They hadn't even had to think about who's leading the defense for several years.
Sure.
You had Brandon Staley into Raheem Morris, and say whatever you want about
Wade
Brandon
Phillips
Staley.
before that.
Wade Phillips before that. He's always had someone you didn't even have to think about as your defensive coordinator, and you're going to have to think about Chris Shula because this is his first time taking the helm.
Hopefully the Lakers don't have to think